Welcome back to the Pool Pro Podcast. Have you established a productive relationship with your local manufacturer's reps? And do you really understand how they can assist you with educational tools? On today's episode, recorded before COVID, Ron Newman from Pentair will discuss how Pentair reps, apps, and Pentair University can help service guys. Listen up.
Welcome back to the Politics and Pools podcast. Today we're talking pools, and we're talking with Ron Newman of Pentair Aquatic Systems.
That's correct.
And first of all, Ron, you're our local sales rep here in Orange County for Pentair.
Yep.
Well, I love your story because a lot of what we're trying to talk about in this podcast is the journey from the guy who starts out as a kid or as, has a friend in the business and can take a tank top and flip-flops and go down and get a business license and go to distributorship and open up an account, and all of a sudden you're a pool guy,
right?
Which is great, but where do you go from there? And your journey is I think really enlightening because you don't have to stay even just as a pool cleaner or pool tech. There are tremendous opportunities in this business in a lot of different sectors for people who are willing to keep their eyes open and to take advantage of the educational opportunities that are out there.
The only limitations that the pool industry has, and this might come off a little bit arrogant, or maybe the way that I don't want to come off is the only limit in the pool industry is you.
Yep.
There's a lot of guys that are really happy doing repairs. There's a lot of guys happy servicing pools, and that's what they want to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, God bless them, and that's what we need. But as technology changes and keeps, we have new assembly bills being pushed down to us, new limitations on what we could do in construction with energy and sustainability. It's a changing world right now.
Yeah, and right now, and especially, we're in a real state of flux, and we've got some things that are waiting to shake out, both here in California and nationally. Things as far as educational organizations, there's a lot of change, but there's one constant, and that is the education is out there, and there are people out there that can help you,
sure,
no matter where you are in this business. So that's what I wanted to maybe talk to you a little bit about is what are some options that are out there, and what are the advantages for people? What are the tools that you as a manufacturer, Pentair, provide?
Sure.
I just enjoyed last weekend really poking around on your website, and there's a lot of great things there, but it starts really with your Pentair Partners program. Can you explain that to us?
Sure. I'll digress a second about what you talked about, the need for education in our pool industry. And I have a saying that I've used for years and years, and I didn't coin the phrase, I just copied somebody else, but it's, the dumbest question is the one that's not asked.
Yep.
And we have that a lot in this industry with new guys coming into the industry. They're afraid to ask the question because they don't want people to think that, what are you doing in this industry? You don't know what you're talking about. And then you go to the other end of the spectrum. You got guys that have been around forever that are embarrassed to ask questions that they maybe should know the answer to. And the best thing, the most basic thing is get to know your rep. Mm-hmm. Whatever products you're using, know your rep, have a direct relationship with them, because that's going to be your conduit to a ton of content. You asked about Pentair Partners. We have a rewards program, and we call it Pentair Partners. And to join Pentair Partners, you go to pentairpartners.com, and we validate that you're in the pool industry. We ask your name, your phone number, your address, the name of your business, where you shop. And what that does, that allows us to track your purchases and reward you on your purchases. That's a very small part of it. That's what for years and years people want to know. What am I getting? What's my reward program? What's my rebate? And you get caught up in pennies while dollars are flowing out the back door.
Yeah, that's true.
And once you're logged into Pentair Partners, we have something called Pentair University that gives you access to. And the Pentair University has content on most of our automation and most of our equipment. The challenge for a lot of us is if we're not touching something every single day, and then doing repetition, it doesn't stick in our head. the great thing about Pentair University, if I'm a service guy and I'm out servicing pools and I don't have to work on an IntelliCenter, but maybe once every 6 months, or a saltwater generator, or a Easy Touch, I'm not familiar with it.
Right.
With the university, you can go on the night before you go out to the job, leisurely at home watching TV, take a couple minutes, watch a video, and it walks you through. If it's doing this, do this. If you want to program this, you go here. It's a tutorial. I don't want to say it's a step by step, but it's a pretty good roadmap to getting to where you're trying to go.
Yeah, understanding the menus of an automation system, understanding the error codes and the functions on
Sure.
a heater, understanding how to go through the menu on the back of an IntelliFlow
Right.
variable speed pump. That brings me back to my very first heater class that I went to. I went to it and I walked out of there going, man, I can work on this heater, no problem. It was 6-8 months before I ever saw a heater break down. I was like, I forgot everything.
Right. Right.
So this is now right at your fingertips, and it's a terrific resource to have.
Yeah. So along with getting access to some of the Pentair University, we also have a couple apps that are available today, and the platform's called TechSmart. And right now we have 2 products that are supported in TechSmart, and more to come. And we have a TechSmart heater app that starts out on the basics. You open the app up, and it says, do you have a heater that's a round black heater, or do you have a square heater that's tan? And you push the button, and then it walks you through step by step what the heater's doing or not doing. Asks you to check voltage here, check voltage there, and you follow the menu on the app, and at the end it tells you this is the part number you need that's bad. And it's a great resource.
I've used that tool for a couple of years now, and I have not come across a heater that I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. That is the best troubleshooting tool I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it's a great platform. We can't grow it fast enough. We're definitely working on it. Once again, the challenge for anyone doing pool service is you're in a backyard, and if you're like most of us in the world, you're trying to do more in 24 hours than you're trying to do 30 hours worth of work in 24 hours. And the last thing you want to do, no matter who the manufacturer is call tech support, because it could be 5 minutes if it's a good day. It could be 5 hours. And by having some of these tools, you control your own destiny.
Right. Yep. In addition to the website, where else can we find training?
So it's not so much training as much as it is product information, and places to even send consumers when they're asking about a high efficiency heater or some of our new automation. Pentair has a Pentair channel on YouTube that if you just go to YouTube and type in Pentair, you can open up the Pentair channel, and I believe we have to date, I want to say close to 60 videos in there about different product and different content, and it's a good resource to go to get educated yourself and to also point consumers to. We also have an app that anybody could download. You go to the App Store or the Google Play Store, and it's called Pool IQ. So you type in Pentair Pool IQ, and it's an app that talks about salinity. If you have a saltwater pool, how big is the pool? This is what your reading is. This is how many pounds of salt you need. If you're thinking about putting a heat pump in or a gas heater, what size is the pool? How much do I want to heat it? How much do I pay for electricity? How much do I pay for gas? Those are some of the basic tools it has. It also has product information and also has an automation guide that helps you through automation. Do you have a pool or do you have a spa? Do you have a pool in the spa? And you click on a button and it says, do you have lights? How many lights do you have? And at the end, it kind of gives you a breakdown of this is the equipment that we suggest that you use. The good, better, best in automation, and then down the line, pump, filter, heater, and so on.
And those calculators, cost calculators, are a real asset when it comes time to trying to sell a larger ticket item.
Sure.
It really helps you explain the advantages and get the customer on board. Another thing that's coming up very shortly is your in-person training.
Yes.
We've got one coming up at Pechanga in a couple of weeks. Tell us about that. Why should we take 2 days out of our life and shut our business down and go there?
So I've been in the pool business, like we alluded to earlier, for a very long time. And I never went to a trade show or to a training until I worked for a manufacturer, because I was always too busy. I couldn't afford to lose the time in the field because it was going to put me behind. And and that was back in the day of the single speed pump and a yellow time clock or a red and white time clock.
Yep.
The world's changed. We do trainings now. We have Pachanga coming up the 26th and 27th of this month. We're going to have in excess of 350 customers there for 2 days with hands-on training. For the last 4 years, I've been doing the training in Northern California and Southern California, and we have typically in excess of 400 people at trainings. And one of the questions we ask in the middle of the training session at one of the lunches or the dinners, how many people have been to the training before? Surprisingly enough, more than 70% of the people have been to the training before. Once you realize that it's worth my time, you realize how much maybe you've missed out on, or how much opportunity. Because at the end of the day, it's opportunity, and we're all in this to make money at the end of the day. And if you could streamline what you're doing on a daily basis, when you go into a backyard, instead of focusing on what you need to do and get out of there, if you could slow down just a second and look around for opportunity, everybody in the pool business that goes into a backyard, we trip over pennies, trip over dollars looking for pennies.
And the real key to that is you got to know what to look for. You
Absolutely.
have to know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And I've been a big fan of these type of training exercises. Now you've got them refined to where they're a really terrific event. But they started out as little classes, hydraulics classes, heater classes, how to work on pumps, different things. And it makes me really happy to hear that those classes are so popular and you get a return clientele.
Absolutely.
It also makes me kind of concerned and a little sad for the guys who aren't taking advantage of this. If 70% of the people are, you're preaching to the choir. What I see out there, and you monitor online forums and so forth, you see all these guys that they're just running in a circle. They're working 6 or 7 days a week. They're knocking each other over the head for nickels and dimes.
Right.
Pool Pro
And
Podcast.
At some point in time, you have to stop running in a circle and just go, wait a minute, shut your business down for 2 days. Go to these trainings. Not only are you going to learn things that are going to elevate you above that circle, but you're going to meet other people. You're going to get acquainted with the terrific people that you guys have in your company. You're going to meet like-minded people that work in your area or close by, and you'll hear different perspectives on things, and so you grow exponentially by going to these things.
And I couldn't agree more. Obviously, we focus on content and what we're teaching in the classes, and that it's relevant to what everyone's doing on a day-to-day basis. But just as important as what you're learning, it's who you're meeting. It's having someone to call when I get. I wonder if Dave ever had this problem. I'm gonna call Dave real quick and see what his point of view is on this. Or I'm gonna call Ron, or I'm gonna call Chris Barstow, or some of the other people that work in the field that we see this stuff on a daily basis. And it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. The dumbest question is the one that's never asked. And you go to these trainings, and you could tell the new guys that haven't been to training before, and they're just starting to network. You got to break them out of their shell and show them that it's important what we're learning here. But the guy sitting next to you, he has the same challenges you do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And they're like-minded people. So it's a great fun event, and we look forward to it every year.
Yeah, you have a great class on basic electricity. That kind of just every pool person should at least start here and have an understanding of a little bit about what's going on electrically on a pool. And then you have a terrific class. It's 2 hours or more long on how to wire an Easy Touch. Now, that doesn't mean that if you go to the basic electricity class and you go to the Easy Touch class, you're automatically a qualified electrician and you can put in an Easy Touch. But I'll tell you one thing that you will do is you'll meet people who have put these things in. You'll meet electricians who work on these things. And so that's a great place to start. If you get an opportunity to sell one of these things, you'll know somebody that you can bring in and help you, and that'll set you down a road of where you can expand your business in a whole new direction.
We don't have to, in life, we don't have to have all the answers to anything. And I have yet to meet someone that has all the answers. You just have to know how to get the answers, and you have to have the conduit to it. And that's what these trainings are. That's what the sales reps for all the different manufacturers are. That's what the pool professionals like you are. And you just have to get comfortable doing maybe something you're not used to doing. And it's, it's only as hard as we make it. And that's the main thing. I think if we can get out of the trainings, we can learn the conduit. Once again, like you talked about earlier, you go to these trainings and you learn all kinds of great stuff. But if you're not applying it on a daily basis, some of it sits back there somewhere waiting for you to reactivate it. But if you, hey Dave, remember we were in that class and they talked about if I took this relay and I plugged it in here and I did a voltage test. Oh yeah, that's what we, and you could talk to a like-minded person about it. This, once again, having some of the same challenges you have on a daily basis. Yeah.
So if we were going to kind of put out there, what should people take away from this talk? I think the biggest thing is that you have resources, but maybe they're a little bit underutilized at this point.
A little is a little bit of an understatement. As a manufacturer, we think that we know what our customers' needs are, and we do a pretty good job of reaching out. And we have something we call voice of the customer, and we have conversations like we've had with you multiple times about what do you need on a daily basis. Right. And we go out and create content and create some of these tools, and then we, as an industry, maybe don't do as good of a job as we should disseminating that down to the people that need this on a daily basis. So the biggest takeaway is don't be afraid to ask somebody a question, and there is a ton of content out there, and that's something we're challenged with as a manufacturer on a daily basis, is how do we get this to the guys in the field.
Well, what I would recommend is that you go to, is it PentairPartners.com?
That's correct.
If you're not a member, sign up, create an account, get to where you are known by Pentair and you get a chance to know them better. They have all these online tools that we talked about. They also have a schedule for where the classes are nationwide.
Absolutely.
Find one of those classes and go. You will not be disappointed.
One last thing I'll say about Pentair Partners. If you're on the move and you're not sitting in front of a computer and you don't have access to a computer because you're out working 12 to 16 hours a day, another option to get a link to sign up for Pentair Partners is if you send a text to 31996, and in the message you type in the word Pentair, you'll get a reply back in a couple of seconds with a direct link to Pentair Partners to sign up for our Partners program.
That's terrific. Yeah. Thanks for your time, Ron. It's been a pleasure.
Great. Thanks, Dave.
A new voice in the industry, a resource for all, education for you. This is Pool Pro Podcast. Build relationships and share important news as we get ready for our next backyard adventure. Pool Pro Podcast. Backyard adventures are better together. Please take a moment to share, like, and review our content with all of those that would be interested.